How you doing, guys, and welcome to this week's episode of Toolbox TV. Once again, we're out and about in the van, skipping around from job to job, just letting somebody out in traffic at the moment. This week I want to talk to you about networking, and when I say networking, on this occasion I'm talking about the traditional form of networking that we all know, the sort of breakfast meeting networking arrangement. I was asked while doing a Skype call with one of the guys this week why I left my BNI chapter, and the bottom line is I left BNI. Sorry, the question was phrased more or less, I take it you left BNI because it was no good, and that is just absolutely further from the truth that you could believe. The reason I actually left BNI is because, number one, I'm so busy, and number two, obviously developing different interests now, so I'm diversifying, if you like, and moving what I do into a different sort of realm. BNI and breakfast meeting in general are a fantastic way for tradespeople to get business, but there are a few things that you have to be aware of. There's a few things that you need to do in order to make it work for you, because I have seen tradesmen turn up at these meetings, get absolutely no business from them at all, and then give up on the whole idea, walk away and say breakfast meetings don't work. And of course that's typical with most forms of marketing, as you'll hear me say time and time again, where people try them and because they're not doing it right, because they're not doing it the way that's going to be effective, they then give up and say, well, that doesn't work. And we've had that with leaflets, we've had that with magazine ads, and with networking it's the same story. If you turn up at these meetings and you don't really get involved and you just hope to get some work from it, then it's never going to work for you. So my tips for network meetings, breakfast type meetings, referral meetings, whatever way you want to phrase it, whatever you want to call them, number of tips that I would give. Number one, get actively involved. When you get to the meetings, meet with people. Don't just sit in the background. Don't just turn up, take your seat, say your 1 minute presentation and then leave. You know, turn up early, mix with people, talk to people over coffee before the meeting starts, because in reality that's where the most part of the business gets done. The other thing is, go with a mindset of what can I do to help other people, not with a mindset of what can I get out of it. So you really need to be thinking while you're at these meetings and when you're talking to somebody, what can I do to help you? What can I do? And I'm not saying you have to sort of verbalize that and literally stand in front of the individual and say, oh, what can I do to help you? Because that sometimes can sound quite insincere. But certainly what you would need to do is, in your mind, think about the ways that you could actually help that individual. What can you bring to the table to help them? Because by giving, by helping, by being the first one to support somebody else, that comes back to you. But if you go in with a take mentality, if you go with a mentality whereby I'm just here for business, if I don't get business I'm not interested, it's never going to work for you. And you know, you're not going to get close to people aren't going to feel comfortable around you. So it's better to have that attitude of what can I bring, what can I give. And it doesn't necessarily always mean that you'll bring referrals. It doesn't always necessarily mean that it'll be part of your speciality. But there are other things that you can give, you can bring. I mean, one of the big things that I really enjoyed about my breakfast meetings, and I was in BNI for well over 8 years, and one of the things I really enjoyed about it was this access to people from other walks of life that otherwise you might not have easy access to. And for example, I mean, the accountant, the lawyer, the solicitor. So these are architects. These are people that not only would bring work, and work isn't all that it's about, but they bring their knowledge and their experience. So if you had an issue or a problem, you could easily, while networking, talk that problem through with them very briefly, at least to just get a feel, or for example, if you had a particular problem with, say, employment law or with contract law, normally you'd have to spend £70–80 to sit down with your solicitor to actually trash that out and work that out. Whereas if you run it past somebody in a BNI meeting, obviously somebody who knows what they're talking about, you you at least get a feel for what you need to be doing, and you know whether you need to go then and spend some money on it, or whether that would have been a complete waste of time. And the same is true for many of the other trades. You can pick their brains for their expertise. So, do I recommend breakfast meetings and networking meetings? Absolutely, yes. They were fantastic for my business as I was growing my business. I made some real lasting friends from my networking meetings who I still work with today. I still have relationships today, although I no longer attend the breakfast meetings. And as I said, that's out of choice. It's not because it stopped working for me or anything like that. It works, it has worked, it has always worked, but I just put my time elsewhere now. That's all. So I highly recommend them. One big alarm, I would say, one big warning I would say for you is, actually there's two. And one of them is, find a meeting that's going to suit you. Don't just go to the first one and sign up and join, because the reality is you're working with groups of people, you're dealing with other people, and if the group doesn't gel, then it's never going to work for you. So that's one thing. Make sure you visit a couple of groups in your area before you settle on one, but choose one that you know or you feel right, you know, and you get a feeling when you're in a room with a group of people, is this the right place for me? And if it doesn't feel right, then don't join that one, move on and find another one. And of course the organisers will tell you that you must join their one, and they'll try and encourage you, but hold off, join the one that fits with you and the one that you feel is going to work for you. The other thing I would say, and you get encouraged to get involved in this as well, and that's hold back from getting involved in the leadership team for a number of reasons. Number one, you are told that it gives you good exposure, and that's correct. But the downside is you end up spending time working on their business and not your business. That's not such a good thing. And then you also end up getting embroiled in the group's politics, and that's not very good for getting business. So as much as you may feel the draw to become part of the leadership team, and I'm talking about this from experience because I did these things, I made these mistakes, you know, and if I was going around again and doing BNI again, or any of the other breakfast clubs, I would stay clear of the management or the leadership teams. Yes, I would jump in and help. I would go and set out tables and chairs, and I'd be happy to count referrals and all that kind of thing. I would get involved to that extent. But in terms of the actual administration and the leadership side of it, I would stay clear of that, and I would advise you to do the same, because it doesn't have a positive impact on your business from a number of points of view. But as an organisation, whether it's BNI or Bob or anything, I can't talk for the others, because although I have attended some of them, I've never been a member of the other breakfast clubs. But BNI was certainly really good for my business. And if you have an opportunity to join a similar organisation, then I would suggest that you do so. So that's my toolbox tip, or my toolbox wisdom for this week. If you're not doing breakfast networking, or you're not doing referral networking, then find a way of getting involved and do it. It works for your business. It involves you working at it, but don't get involved in working their business for them. So, until the next time, continue to learn and grow, and I'll see you in the next video. Hi, I'm James Dewane, founder of My Electricians Toolbox and the author of the Sparks Blueprint to Marketing for Local Trades. If you've enjoyed this video, why don't you pop over to jdewane.com and take advantage of our free marketing training for electricians. I look forward to seeing you over there.